welcome back to week 2 of my best self life makeover. And if you're tuning in for the first time, I am doing a project from a book called Life Makeovers by Cheryl Richardson. I'm not being paid by anybody. I've never spoken to her. I've just something I've saw her on Oprah back in 2001, and I bought her book, and I've tried to do it a couple of times over the years, and now I'm actually doing it. Last week we worked on recognizing accomplishments, things that, you know, we've done good over the last year rather than starting off with what did I do wrong. So this week, and this is my Kindle version. I don't know how well it can see anything. This week, week 2, is about starting to take action, setting goals. But instead of setting goals for things you'd like to achieve or acquire, it's about a quality within yourself that you would like to develop. And her premise is that, let me just find it here, because there's something in here that she says that that I really like. Okay. So she says, as you consider the quality you'd like to develop, remember that the quickest way to create a better life is to focus on becoming a better you. Make the development of this quality your top priority and intentionally focus on the steps that will bring about this change. Once you choose a quality that you'd like to develop, you will probably find that the universe presents you with plenty of opportunities to practice. And then farther down, she talks about that you need to start each week with a plan for how you will continue to develop the quality you've chosen. So this week's lesson is going to be repeated every single week. So every week you're going to want to start with action steps for how you're going to develop that quality that week. And she says the truth is that it's much easier to take a proactive approach to growth by choosing how you will develop yourself rather than to wait for life to throw you a few curveballs in the form of lessons. Isn't that the truth? So I prefer to look at it from the proactive side of it, that I would rather be proactive and have the universe provide me opportunities for growth rather than be reactive and have the universe provide me with curveballs in the form of hard lessons. So I think we've all probably been in that position too. So, and the reason that I chose the words that I just chose about being proactive and reactive is because that's the quality that I would like to develop within myself. So that's this week's for me, is to be proactive versus reactive, because as I sat there and I thought about it, there's a lot of qualities that I would like to develop within myself, not just before I die, not just in the next year, but like right now. I am in a fight for my life right now, and I need to develop several qualities quite quickly. And so when I thought about it, the kind of like umbrella that sounded like it would be really good is to be proactive rather than reactive. And that's one of the examples that she gave in the book. And I thought, you know what? That's something that needs to be one of the things that I do. For sure, one of the qualities, but I think that I can find a way to have all these other qualities be rather than the quality itself, to be an action step towards the quality of being proactive rather than reactive. Which brings me to the next step. So there's 3 steps for this week. 1 is, what quality about yourself would you like to develop? 2, to write a positive affirmation to hang up around your house or work or car or wherever you're going to see it, to remind you frequently what your intention is. And then the third step is to write 3 steps, action steps that you are going to take this week to start working towards that growth. And so again, my quality is to be proactive versus reactive. My affirmation, which kind of goes with I have a lot of qualities that I need to develop quickly. So my affirmation is, I take care of myself by putting myself first. And it's most important that I understand what that means to me. Like the proactive and reactive doesn't need to make sense to you of how that goes with putting myself first, as long as it makes sense to me. And so think about that too when you're making your affirmation. It has to make sense to you, that you know what you're telling yourself. You know what you're reminding yourself of. And so even though she says to list 3 action steps that you can take this week, I have 7, because again, when you're fighting for your life and it's happening right now, you gotta jump into action. So I'm doing a little bit more than what she's asking, but which, just talking about this, especially for those of us that may have some eating disorders, if you're following along from my weight loss journey subscribers, there's a reason that we're putting that food in our mouth, right? And me doing more than what's asked of me, that's me not following directions. That's me taking control. That's me thinking that I know better than the person who wrote the book or who's giving me instructions or whatever. And for some of us, that might have something to do with your eating issues as well. So I just want to point that out, that I think it's good that I'm aware of what I'm doing. I probably shouldn't be doing it. I'm sure a therapist or psychologist or psychiatrist would tell me, well, if you're aware of it, why are you doing it? And mainly because I have some weaknesses that I have to get under control immediately, because I go back to work on Tuesday, and I have to have a plan for survival. So that's why. That's the only reason why I'm breaking the rules for myself. And I'm not saying that anyone couldn't do that too. But anyways, okay. So my action steps are, 1, I need to keep to myself. 2, I need to keep quiet. 3, to journal everything that happens to me, around me, everything. 4, do not take the bait, because I think I am going to be baited and baited pretty good too. So I'm not going to take their bait. 5, do not do other people's jobs. I'm not going to highlight anything. I'm not going to point it out. I'm not going to remind them of what their duty is. Either they get it or they don't. And that's their responsibility, not mine. And the reason why I think the interesting thing is what I have going on at work right now mirrors my life as well. That the issues that I might have, my own shortcomings and weaknesses, they're going to be my weaknesses everywhere I go. Home, work, social, just life in general, my relationship with food, my relationship with myself. And so that brings me to the next one, which is I need to mind my own business. And the other is the last one. So step 7 for me is to start this book. So I haven't done it yet because I was busy. We had some birthdays going on here. So that is part of me learning to be proactive rather than reactive, is to start that book as well. So do the short list again, keep to myself, keep quiet, journal everything, don't take the bait, don't do other people's jobs, mind my own business, and start that book. Sorry, once you've had weight loss surgery, you know, have some issues. Anyways, so I invite you to start week 2 with me, and I will have links down below to Cheryl Richardson's book and also this book, because I'm going to be starting it and I'll be vlogging about it soon, by Mike Bayer, Cutie Pie. And I'll put a link to his stuff too. It's all together. So The Secret, the Be Your Best Self, the Life Makeovers, all of that. I'm hoping for a much better 2018. And for those of you following over from my weight loss journey stuff, is I've spent a year, more than a year actually, but my 1-year anniversary for my surgery is coming up in a couple weeks, and I've spent more than the last year where my one and only focus was my weight. I've had little to no life outside of my weight, and so now it's time to focus on having a good life, not just having a good body. So I've lost enough weight that my body is going to be able to physically carry me through things in my life that I need to do. And now I'm going to get this healthy enough to carry me through the things that I need to do and to have a good life. And so that's what I want for myself, is my highest and best good. And I invite you to join me on this journey for your highest and best good too. So thank you, and I will see you next week.